If Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta wanted to take Wafula Chebukati upwards, he would have done it. But because the man from Gatundu meant well, it is right to say, as we were told during the campaign trail, that kweli wajinga walisha Kenya man. You know, wajinga walisha Kenya jamani. We are past that surely. You know, I agree with the words of Rosalyn Akombe that before we start manufacturing deaths, imaginary death threats, then why take a minute? Why don't we probe real deaths? Chris Musando. And you can add into that list. It is laughable. Honestly, it's laughable. As much as the political class want us to believe it, but I am not boarding. Could better take this. Listen to President Ruto.
We also know that there was a direct attempt to abduct Wafula Chebukati and murder him so that the commission would be paralyzed, or a compliant commissioner take over and subvert the people's sovereignty. It was a hard, cold, and lonely time. The threats were dire. The promised rewards very lavish, and the pressure relentless.
Hapana. No. Hapa nimekataa. I think we have a lot of conspiracy theories, and I analyzed this at some point. You're sure Uhuru Kenyatta wanted to? He's saying that there was message from no high officers. So you're sure Uhuru Kenyatta wanted to kill Wafula Chebukati? And how was that going to be explained to the public? Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to look at this claim and with a lot of sense, because there seems to be a well-structured and choreographed plan in the way to boost legitimacy and sanitize Wafula Chebukati. I don't think everyone will be shocked in this country if we wake up tomorrow and find out Wafula Chebukati is the new chair of Parastatal and Commissioner X and what this and that. People are not going to be shocked, because the general consensus here is that Wafula Chebukati announced William Ruto the winner, and they have done enough. And isn't it just enough to praise Chebukati without really creating what, according to me, is, I stand with what Jim Wanjigi has just said. Jim Wanjigi has made a statement about this. Now, look at what is in your screen. I want us to look at Jim Wanjigi's statement on this, because he's really not adding up. Now, the Ruto government should take action on the serious crimes alleged in the Bomas of Kenya. In the executive, his actions carry weight. They speak far louder than any words could do on their own. What he said today was largely meaningless unless he is in fact prepared to back it up by taking steps in the following alleged capital offenses. Number 1, attempted bribery of IBC officials. Number 2, threat to life of IBC officials and family members. Number 3, attempted murder of Chebukati. Enough talk. Let's see action. Okay. I want just to ask some few questions. If this claim was there, and so who saved Chebukati? Let's work with first round that he saved, maybe Kenya Kwanza saved Chebukati. And if Kenya Kwanza saved Chebukati, then how neutral was the ABC chair? Let's start there. If they saved him from what will be an impending kidnapping and murder, then how neutral was he? You gotta ask yourself that questions. I have another question. So before results were announced, we understand there were a series of meetings between these officials and government officials. Of course, we understand, according to what has been reported, some security agencies meeting Chebukati here and there. And while publicly, the likes of Raphael Tuju came out in press briefings, and they had met. Aleto had met Chebukati, and there was CCTVs seeing capturing these leaders meeting Wafula Chebukati. And so, before the results were announced, the whole country was waiting for the chair to give us results. How would you execute murder and explain the coincidence of his absence and the way results are being announced without putting this country into unnecessary tension? Wajinga walisha Kenya, I think this should be explained in some other form than how it is being packaged. It's being packaged as a serious joke. Because how would you, I'm not saying it's impossible, but okay, so you want to tell us, fine, Chebukati is out of the picture, all of a sudden Chebukati is out of the picture. Now, have you gotten that level surely? Have you really gotten to that level? I am doubting whether they've gotten to that level. And Raila Odinga have been in this for quite some time. So he had a chance in 2007 and opted, and there are reports that he used to talk to the Ruto and the team that were around him so that he would give up. In fact, I understand he was the first person who gave up. Do you think it was just a do or die that they will kill him? Okay, let me not go there. Let me take you to 2017. At the campaign trail, William Ruto said that he nearly slapped Uhuru Kenyatta after the his win was cancelled by the Supreme Court, and Uhuru Kenyatta wanted to give up. So Uhuru Kenyatta is a posh prince. If former President Uhuru Kenyatta wanted to give up on his own win, tell me, if they had realized that results had not gone their way, do you think he would go that extra mile of then sanctioning such a heinous act to give Raila victory? If his own victory, he was nearly giving up. I am a bit perplexed because we are being given a very outrageous representation of the previous regime. Well, we know. When Mating left, he wrote, "Police never." And all of a sudden, so all the energy were actually taken to Bomas of Kenya, while at the other processes was not unmarked. The theories of Azimio did not have agents in Mount Kenya. So do not do that, do not do that. So was there all this jeopardy, or rather, was there all these loose ends so that it can be settled at Bomas? Hapa siku ubaya tunaekelea Uhuru na sieti tunamtetea. Hapana. That is not Uhuru. If it would be someone else, maybe. And Uhuru gave up power smiling. Why are we denting the image of a man who gave you power? Uhuru never had a problem. He gave it even after all. If it had gotten to that extent, and I've always asked one question: if Uhuru didn't want to, do you think there's something that would have stopped? I want to debunk one thing. Um, Raila, there is one theory that subverting the will of the people, according to Kenya Kwanza, was announcing Raila Odinga as the winner. And then to them, announcing Raila Odinga as the winner was going to cause violence. So let me ask, between Raila Odinga the winner and Chebukati, this issue about removing Chebukati in the picture, which one was going to cause violence? And who was to cause violence? You can ask the people of Kenya to preempt. If it was Raila Odinga announced, what would you have expected? Let me tell you. Just find it. What do you think would have expected? The mood will be a story to be documented somewhere else. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to look at this, but I want to tell you what is going on. And that Ruto, I don't want to call him shrewd, but there is something, this is something that was planned. It is not a coincidence that the president went to Nyanza in a span of a week before this sanity program, Wafula Chebukati sanity program, started. And I am on record in this channel saying that when President was going to Nyanza, we never wanted to report side shows. We wanted to report development, goodies, just like what we normally see in other regions. And true to my word, and true to that, because that was personally, that was my narrative. I don't know what other analysts were talking about, but that was my narrative. If you check the social media pages of two governors, the Sia governor, my governor James Orengo, and Governor Wanga, they were talking of hashtag endless potential. That was their position. So they honestly, with good intention, welcomed the president and mobilized for his welcome in the Nyanza region for that development. And so we did have dramas, and that locked out other events. But William Ruto went to Nyanza to get the crowds. After getting the photos of the crowds, the discussion in this country for the last 2 days had been about the weekend reception of the president, the Saturday and Friday tour. With that, a handshake debate was being mooted. And then 2 days later, it is all about how Raila wanted to take over power. What am I talking about? President Ruto decided to set a trap for Raila Odinga. And suddenly he fell for that trap. That is it? What is it? There, it was a discussion about legitimacy. All this story being planned was just to boost legitimacy. And if I want to tell you why, yesterday, the president, there was the audit report. These fellas are leaving the office today. I still don't understand why that State House meeting today to discuss Wafula Chebukati exit was mooted. I don't know. It was mooted and organized it and became an opportunity to speak politics of the last August general election. Maybe it's true because everything comes to an end. So the distraction should settle. It was mooted for them to magnify a sense of that. Secondly, all this story was a program to sanitize Wafula Chebukati. And as I said, there is no problem. There's no Kenyan who is going to protest tomorrow if Chebukati is given a job. There are people who are with William Ruto that all of them have been given jobs. Chebukati is one of them. And who will have a problem with that? So, and again, if it is about the results, whether we accept or not, people have to move on. And we go with it. So I find these dramas are necessary, and it seems to be one trying to paint Uhuru Kenyatta. I think the person on target here is not even Raila Odinga. The person on target here is Uhuru Kenyatta. And I find it a little bit wrong because Uhuru handed over power peacefully. Alipeana. Kibaki was, Raila won against Kibaki in 2007. And Kibaki refused. And this country went down to the dogs until the handshake was mooted, the Grand Coalition government. So we need to appreciate what someone did well. This discussion is meant to suppress Raila's voice in the procurement of the new commissioners. We've already spoken about people who wanted to subvert the will of the people, here, this and that. It's a process. It's something to demonize Raila and Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And in fact, I can tell you, I'll do some analysis tonight on why Uhuru Kenyatta is being demonized. I'll do some analysis on that. You'll see how things are going on. Everything is being framed Uhuru, Uhuru, Uhuru. On this one, I'm not protecting the president, but I think it was far-fetched. It was overstretched. If all through Supreme Court verdict, Supreme Court, all these processes, and it is here for the first time that president is talking about it, honestly, if this was a reality, then I can tell you it could not take 2 days before it's smoked out. Because then what is the protection? The protection is you coming out and doing that, telling Kenyans what's going on. I agree with Jim Wanjigi, let's bring on the evidence. Otherwise, we normally call people who are just talking their opinions. We make our own opinions, but we run the risk of others being seen as propagandists. It remains mere propaganda if it's not backed by evidence.